everybody, and welcome back to Aurorum Regicide Part 3.
Well done.
You guys, as we said at the end of the last part, that you will be heading straight back to the camp. Elliot's a bit ahead of you to meet up with, what's his name? I don't know if you guys say anything more, RP, to one another beyond what you just kind of finished off with, or to Beltran, as you are leading him out of the city yourselves.
One would say to wherein, before we speak to the general and Elliot, there is one more thing I must say to you. However, we cannot have prying, I suppose he's not prying eyes, he's got a sack over his head, but he is all the same.
Well, very well. Let us go and deposit him in the care of the army, and then we can talk.
So I imagine we do that.
We make it quite clear that he is to be well guarded.
And
protected, and fed, and watered, and clothed,
And
kept
gagged.
warm,
And watered
and
with a
gagged
bag
most
over
of
his
the
head.
time as well.
Can you detect magic on him?
I can. Oh, you know what? Let's just do it just in case.
Oh, it's magic.
Because, you know, I mean, I stripped him last time, but apparently he still had boots. So.
You don't take a man's boots. That's just wrong. That's
No,
dishonorable,
yeah.
right there.
He's walking through the city with no boots. Yeah, so there's no magic on him, to be clear. It's funny, too, because even the way that he was bound, they did things where they took his hands and folded his fingers over each other and wrapped it up with like a twine. So it's so tightly wrapped that he can't even move his fingers slightly. His hands are literally bound like this, you know? So he can't even move his fingers if he wanted to. So no little wiggles. No,
Poor boy.
He can't even wiggle it just a little bit. All right.
I actually have an idea. Since I'm not actually role playing in this part, I can still listen and talk in chat on my phone. I might just lay down till thing because for those in chat who don't know, I am having back issues at the moment.
Oh,
my
I didn't
back
know,
is
actually.
killing me.
Okay, yeah.
He put it. Oh, of course, Scott didn't read it. That's why
Yeah,
I
I
asked
put it
how
in.
Tesh was.
Where is it?
In
King-
Kingmaker.
in King-
Oh,
Not spoilers,
Discord?
yeah, in thing.
Oh, I never have that up during while we play. 'Cause I have like a whole
So
spread.
I'm gonna stay paying attention. If you need me, I can easily. I'm like
Yeah.
2 meters that way.
You lie down, buddy.
Yeah, you go right ahead. All right, go ahead. I'm listening.
Poor chap.
So you boys, of course he's under lock and key. Like, come on, let's be serious. There's no tomfoolery here unless somebody trump cards. No, honestly, something like that I would even just ignore. There's no question that you have this person completely held. And it's not even like there's any like secret operatives of Haude Gwenh that can come and try to release him. No, you guys have demolished their army, their spirits and everything. There's no question. You've got him. So don't worry about that there. Throw a trump card.
Yeah, okay.
So I would lead, away from anyone that could be listening. It seems even things we do in private are overheard, overseen in some way. Can you, and he looks around and he says, sense if there is anyone here that does not wish to be seen? For what I have to tell you, I want to tell you in private.
It's unlikely. It's a possibility I could detect someone. I know the spell, but it's quite complicated and I'm not prepared to cast it. I could
It is up to
detect
you.
magic.
If you can...
I mean, I give the area like a cursory look round, I mean, Rowan would be like, well, while I'm doing this, you may as well just look for signs of someone following this.
I will check out
Then
the
he
area too.
grumbled to himself.
Why don't you roll a perception check there, Jake, and Neil, why don't you roll an intelligence check? Oh, tickled that 20. I mean, you still got a huge result anyways. So you don't notice anybody particularly following you. There are people like looking after you guys, but after you like leave the city, nobody's following you, nobody anything. I mean, your own soldiers about you once you get there. Again, but there's that gap of space between the edge of the city and those soldiers and like where your camp is. There's like a small little open field gap where the battle took place. There's a bunch of dead lying around. Your side and Visual side are slowly pulling their corpses out of the battlefield to give them appropriate honor. Haude Gwen's side is obviously not doing that yet. We'll have to deal with those bodies later. But there's a area where the only people around you are those kind of collecting the bodies and the corpses themselves. Where you guys are kind of like free from everybody else, right? Cool. Unless, of course, you're saying this wasn't during the walk, in which case, yeah, you can be in your own camp and have privacy. The intelligence check was to try to listen for any signs of a sensor. There are none around that you can notice, so you should be good there. You boys can have this chat at either locale I just described.
Yeah, when we get back to the camp, probably, and then one will say an extra precaution as well, and he'll turn both him and can I do it to Raren? Can I turn you invisible, or is that just personal?
Is it the spell invisibility or?
Yeah, it is. The spell.
I mean, you can only cast it on one person at a time, but you can cast it on multiple people.
Yeah, beautiful. I'll cast it on us both, and I will, have his hand and my hand on your shoulder, and I'll say walk this way, and so we'll just walk a bit from where we were.
Do you not think this is rather paranoid?
Well, I mean, people see what we do in the dead of night.
That sounds very...
in the middle of the woods.
Sounds very misinterpretable.
Well, let's hope nobody is listening.
Oh, dear. Yes, let's.
So as they walk a bit, he will say... what I'm about to tell you, you cannot tell anyone. Do I have your word?
He nods and then realizes he's invisible and you can't see him. Yes, you have my word.
I've come into information that the free folk mean to attack Vigil. Now, after this little display, I was prepared to ignore it. However, I feel now that I want to do something a little differently. I will go and speak with the hetman and see if I can't change her mind. Wait for you to respond.
What do you mean?
Well, the free folk, they said to me in a roundabout way that they're off contract with us and they've attacked Vigil before. It seems they share no love for them. However, they said, they inquired as to our status and if we would help them, and I just told them what we're doing. I said that we'll be leaving Vigil and marching to Haude Gwenh. And I said what they do is no business of mine. However, if Vigil were to call for aid, that might be different. But if the battle was done before they did, then there would be no alliance to stand on. However, like I said, hearing that, I have a different idea. A long game. Besides, I don't want to see this place taken by the free folk.
My goal, our goal throughout all of this has been to save lives, as many lives as possible. Whether they worship Lady Aravel or Vrogar, it matters not. Lives are lives.
Yes, and I can't control other people as much as I may want to. But, like I said to you, I think I may speak with her now and see if I can't satiate her. I don't know, that went really weird. I can't...
Dazzle her with your tongue?
I can't convince her to see things in a different way.
What way?
A way that doesn't involve attacking Vigil.
Free folk are clearly dangerous. They've just fought on a war on the side of Vigil. and now they're happily
They
attacking.
fought on our side, though, not Vigil.
They fought
in
on the side.
essence, yes.
Yes. And now they are willing to attack them. Moreover, we have a treaty with Vigil. Our
Yes, we do.
personal grievances aside, we signed something. I signed it in a pen marked with the seal of Lady Orenda. I will not break this treaty. One. Furthermore,
I understand.
I would inform Vigil of this treachery. They must know so that they can defend themselves.
I would like to speak with the Hetman first and see how they feel about it.
What is it you wish to say?
Don't attack Vigil.
There is no reason why you cannot go and tell her that once we have told Vigil of their plans.
It was told to me in confidence, Rayron. I don't mean to just betray it so...
It was told to us in confidence by someone we are paying a significant quantity of gold. As of now, they are still in our employ, and they do not get to decide what information we share.
I get to decide what information I share, and I shared this with you, and you told me you would tell nobody. I am asking you to let me speak with them first.
If Rayron wasn't invisible, you'd see his jaw clenching.
Vigil may be informed after I speak with them.
If the free folk intend to attack Vigil, then time is going to be of the essence.
Well, luckily you and the army is still here. They're not doing anything while we're here. It seems they made that clear. I had not decided what to do with the information. I'm not saying do not tell Vigil, but I would like to speak with them first.
Unfortunately, I have given my word to my friend that I will not tell Vigil of this information. But I would warn you to be careful now. You're beginning to trap me in the chains of my own words.
Don't try and play me, Rayron.
I'm not trying to play you. You are trying to play our friends. What the Lady Vigil has done to us matters not. These people fought and died for us.
Did I not just tell you that I'm going to try and stop it? And if it cannot be stopped, then you may tell what you wish.
If it cannot be stopped, then would it not be greater benefit to us to have the walls at least partially rebuilt?
They will not attack while we are here.
Moreover, we are willfully withholding this information from our allies. You are proving what Octavia said to be true.
Am I now?
Yes. I may not care so much for honor as to throw away the lives of my people, but I care enough about my honor that I can save others' lives. Yes. I see no way that we benefit by withholding this information.
I didn't say to withhold it completely. I said I wanted to speak with them first.
Yes. Say someone had not informed you that an army of Haude Gwenh was marching on Reed. They'd withhold the information for a week. It's the same as killing people.
He shakes his head. You can't see, obviously, but
One, think, please. I pray you find the wisdom of the lady. In this case, it is not in our benefit to trust the hetman. She simply works with us for gold and benefit. You know what she would do otherwise? If she felt that we contained greater riches than Vigil, she would say to Vigil, perhaps I will attack these other people and you will not intervene. Perhaps she would select Commander Cedric, being your dichotomous partner, as it were. The path we are walking has both dark and light. And we need to be very careful where we choose to tread. And I feel in my heart that this is a step too far. If it was to save lives, I would agree with you. That is what we have been doing. You and I and Valrin, we have been saving lives, no? And we have done well. But now we risk to throw it away for personal satisfaction?
What personal satisfaction do you get out of this? I mean, do you think I get out of this? I just told you that I would rather speak with them and not see if I could sway her from her current course.
And I agree.
Saving lives in the process. If you wish to just leave it and tell Vigil and create more problems there, maybe Vigil then marches on the Free Folk to preemptive strike.
Vigil will not march on the Free Folk. You know that is not their way. What they would do is shore up their walls.
He looks around the rubble and says, might take a little while for that.
Exactly.
Maybe they see they don't have time.
If we inform them...
You know, Rayron, I release you from your word. You do what you think should happen. And he'll turn us back.
In the same way that you could not work with the armies of Vigil, and you went to march on Haude Gwenh, you ask me now to break the written word of my lady, written in her holy name. Are you asking me to choose between you or her?
No, not at all.
I asked you to turn away from Haude Gwenh. You could not.
You think I went to take Haude Gwenh because I didn't want to work with Vigil? I mean, I didn't, but you think that's the reason?
You went because it was your holy... It was your duty.
Do you not understand how much personally, how much turmoil I have, how this is against everything I stand for, and yet I work with them. I do so. I went in and apologized for the fact that we killed Vigil spies. Do you think that everything I do, I do out of personal gain?
You know I don't think that.
Well, it sounds like you do. And it sounds like in this conversation that is very much what you expressed. All I asked was for time. I never said for once, I never said, do not tell Vigil. I said, I wish to speak to the Free Folk before you do.
Yes,
that
but
is
time
all I said.
Could cost lives.
But they will not march. I just told you. They will not come while we are here.
And what if the Hetman executes you?
I guess that's something we'll have to see. The Free Folk want spoils. I don't even think this is a personal vendetta. We denied that to them in not letting them raid whatever town it was. I can't remember, down to the south. Looks like they're trying it again. Let me offer them. I'm going to offer them out of my own money.
We have already paid them. We have already paid them more than enough. Yes, and I'm
paying them out of my own pocket to turn away. You're talking about saving lives, but it seems like you won't give that a chance for me to stop this. You are my friend, Rayron. You mean a lot to me. But sometimes the things you say to me lead me to think you don't think very highly of me.
I think at your heart, you're a good man. I think sometimes your devotion to your deity clouds your mind.
If that were the case, I would have attacked Vigil long ago.
Have me and Valrin not had to hold you back on several occasions?
No,
I'm
you
not saying
outvoted
that
me.
it was. I'm not saying it was not your willpower that did not attack. but left to your own devices, you would. And you see
Tell
now.
Vigil. Tell them. And he'll just turn at that. I thought you thought better of me, Raren. He shakes his head and he'll leave.
Where do each of your characters go? It's not one of those things where you both go to like take a piss and bump into each other accidentally at the same tree.
One goes to this.
Oh, Tesh, the real laughter was awesome. Oh, sorry. That was beautiful. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, where do you guys go?
I will go to my horse and ride for the free folk.
You guys didn't officially bring Beltran anywhere yet, though. Oh, no, you dropped him to guards.
Yeah.
And then you stepped away from the guards.
Scott.
Yeah, sorry.
Scott, like,
My apologies. No. I just wanted to make sure that he's handled. Like, again, I'm not trying to do any tomfoolery. I'm not trying to take Beltran.
No.
Yeah, so that card was played and it was fun. So you hop onto your horse and you ride not to the free folk, the army that's here. You look to ride north to where the free folk are where she is settled. Because she's like 2 hexes to the north of where you are.
Yep.
Cool. So you're going to go for a nice hard ride. That means the camera's on you, Neil. Where are you going?
Raren is going to go speak with the general and Elliot.
Cool. So that kind of shores up what we're going to say. And then once again, Tesh kind of sitting in the wing over there. I'll pull you in after I have that conversation. But before we go to what it is that Jake does, okay? So you go to find the general and Elliot. Elliot himself, the two of them are separated from one another when you kind of go looking for them. I don't know if you try to find one before the other.
He would go to Elliot first.
Okay. I was going to say, or if you would call both of them to speak to you simultaneously. But if you go to Elliot first, sure. So when you go to Elliot, you can actually see that he is over actually among the free folk that are there. He had made a couple of friends along the way, and he's actually sitting amongst them and kind of like laughs and jokes and whatnot from the people that are there. And just like he's when you literally go up there, one of the things he's doing is he's actually like talking to a couple of people who literally kind of walk up to a group of laughter, and because again you're showing a considerable amount later. So you like walk up to a group of people like laughing, and Elliot's like, no, I told you that's not how it went. It was you're supposed to portray the love, but sarcastically. You know what sarcasm is, right? And you can see the people are kind of like chuckling or whatever, and there's a few people happen to be standing up, and they're also kind of like laughing to themselves, but also a bit confused of what he's trying to describe. And he's like, never mind, let me show you. And he goes to stand up, and when he stands up, that's when he sees you approaching, and he goes, oh, Chosen. And his like entire face and tone and everything completely changes as the people around hearing him and seeing his look over, and they see you there, and they just, because they're not aware of everything, right? They just kind of continue their own little bit of noise. After whatever first line you say, I imagine he steps away from them to join with you. Go ahead.
Elliot, could I ask for some of your time?
Of course. We're just being fools right now.
I'm asking as Raren, not as the Chosen.
He nods understandingly. It's not the first time by any stretch that this has happened. And he looks to the others and says, see if you can get the lines right. And the people are just kind of like chuckling, and he just like shakes his head. And you can clearly tell, because you know him very well, that was very much a faking like he was having the emotion that he just had a moment ago, but clearly things have changed. He steps away from them and starts walking away with you.
Would you mind if we went to find the general?
I do not mind at all, of course. Roll an insight or sense motive.
I think insight is actually a more appropriate name in a lot of cases, isn't it?
Depends on what it is that you're referring to.
Because I'm not sensing his motive here. I'm being insightful on my friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the case, but like I think in the majority of cases, insight is more appropriate.
This looks like somebody
Anyway,
grabbed a
that's
thesaurus.
an aside.
Somebody
That's
grabbed
an
a
aside.
thesaurus sometime in 2008 and said, you know,
Oh, cool.
yeah, what is this? So you walking with him. Do you speak with him before you get to the general?
Nope. Wherein is not saying anything.
He will take one small half-ass stab at small talk after like the first 45 seconds, minute or so of silence while you guys are walking, and just simply say, well, the war's done.
Yes. Yes. Hopefully we can have more of that sort of laughter now.
And he lets it trail off with a, yeah. And then kind of, again, if there's no talk that you try to push forward, that was his attempt, and that's it. It's over. Neither of you are really in the mood for talking. You eventually find your way to where the general is, and you can actually see inside the general's tent, and you can see that the lieutenants and whatnot are inside there, and they're kind of going over some final details or whatever. The general himself happens to not be inside the tent, but they're going over some details or whatever. You can of course inquire that in a moment, looking over maps. Some of the stuff is packed up, like clearly. Okay, let's start packing up this temporary war room and whatever, and discussing this. When you walk in, they immediately turn to you and give appropriate salute or whatever, and you probably inquire like, "Is the general about?" And like, "Oh, no, chosen. He came through and gave orders for us to start the breakdown and disbandment, for us to prepare to march again. I think we were heading either. He said we were heading either north or east, and just to make sure that we have appropriate rations given out and the like, that we're fine for the travel, to check and make sure that the men are well, and to leave behind a small group of soldiers to look after the ones that have to stay here while they're being recovered. Vigil has offered to make sure that our injured soldiers are looked after and sent home appropriately before they brought back up to par before being guarded on their own trek home."
Kind of them. Do you know where the general is now?
I think he retired to his own quarters.
Thank you.
In which case, it's pretty easy to find out where his place is. It's like 2 tents over. You know what I mean? Like a good, like we'll say 20 meters away. So you can always get to there if he needs to quickly. And when you go to the general's tent, I mean, you can see, because, you know, it's later in the day, you can see that there's a light inside. You know, just barely see a bit of a glow through the flap. And can announce yourself or just walk in. It doesn't really matter.
He'd ask, Leon?
Yes.
May we enter? It's Wherein and Elliot.
Of course. And when you enter the tent, you can see that he also has many of his things fully packed up and prepared, and he himself is wearing, you know, his appropriate garb and whatnot, like he's ready to move out.
May we sit?
He looks about. There's not much sitting space inside here, and he gestures towards an area of the ground that looks maybe a little bit more comfortable.
Wherein would sit.
Him and Elliot give each other a. I should say Elliot gives him a bit of a look, but he does not meet Elliot's gaze. There's no need to. He's not sitting here like a schoolboy sharing rumors or passing notes. So he ignores Elliot's gaze and goes over and sits down.
I am young. And I feel it is appropriate that I should pray for the wisdom of Lady Arenda, for I fear that sometimes it does not find me. I wanted to apologize for not informing you about the decision that Juan and I took. I knew that it would be distasteful at best. That said, I asked you both. I would like to hear your honest thoughts on it. I would like you to not hold back. Share with me the wisdom that you have. What I seek truly is forgiveness, I suppose, but I know that that is not possible. And so instead, perhaps I seek for you to understand. Or perhaps I seek for you to not hate me.
Leon speaks first, and he says, "You ask for what I cannot currently offer. I have opinions of the matter, but I haven't had the appropriate amount of time to come to my conclusions. I'll gladly give you my opinion. I'll gladly give it to all three of you when I have finally decided exactly what that is. Until then, you would just be given half-hearted thought." Elliot looks over at him and is like, "Really? That's all you're going to offer?" And he looks at you and says, "They're pieces of shit. They're beneath us. They were an evil in Adir that needed to be destroyed, and you know what they did to me. You know what I had to suffer through because of them. And so their deaths, I will not mourn over. I will not weep for. And certainly the victories that have been won by our nation and our people and the union between us and Vigil will be sung, will be written about, and will live on in the history books. I am very proud of the fact that our people were able to quash this world of persons such as those. But that being said, we are not them. The actions that were taken, if what was presented before us, and I believe you admitted to, we are not them. A lapse of judgment would be an understatement. I am very proud of the people that I've chosen to place my allegiance towards, and I'm proud of the things that we've accomplished thus far, from the breaking of the curses that no one even knew existed, to the forming of the nation, the destruction of the evils of Haude Gwenh, and so on. But I will not become Haude Gwenh. I don't know if you know this, wherein, but this will haunt my dreams. And if you want to give true recompense, you'll wear it openly and not hide it. Because one day or another, the storybooks will tell the truth.
That goddamn doggy is so cute.
It is so fucking cute.
I'm like trying to keep a straight face, and he's like, "Oh, it's so cute."
One day or another, it will be leaked out. It will be used against you. The people will be swayed away from you as they learn the truth. Own up to it. You made a mistake, a fucking huge mistake. Be a man, not a boy, and own it. That's the wisdom that I think Arenda would offer. Leon does not nod, does not say anything, just goes from looking and watching what he's saying to looking after you. Sexist. Be a woman, not a girl. Whatever.
Thank you for your candor. Leon, I eagerly await your thoughts on the matter. I believe it's time, once this is done, that we have a full council with every member present, every member of the Chosen present in Kurzweil. There are a great many things to discuss. I believe it is, as Elliot says, important that everyone knows the actions that I and Juan have taken, including Daelric. I have been less than kind to him. Through the guise of kindness, I have not wanted to trouble him overly. And yet I fear it may have been crueler to deny him the truth. General, do not prepare the men to break camp. I've received some information from one. The Free Folk are eyeing Vigil as a target. Make sure that we remain for now make sure that we keep an eye on the free folk. Although I hope it does not come to it, we will keep our word and our treaty. As for now, I think I might go and see whether I can speak. I heard that there is a follower of Lady Arenda in the city. I believe now is the time to attempt to gain some guidance, spiritual succor, the such. I apologize for gathering you both for something as short and brief as this, and I apologize for intruding on your evening, General.
The free folk are mercenaries. Do they not still sit underneath the command of your coin?
I believe that is so. One has unfortunately traveled to speak with the headman. I believe he intends to offer extra gold to ensure that they will not attack Vigil. I believe he is noble enough in his goal, and I believe that he has a good chance of succeeding. Nonetheless, I would be cautious.
What of the disbanded armies joining to the east? Currently, the representation of Valoran is a group of orcs from the Barren Lands doing whatever it is that they do when they're not being supervised by someone with as strong of a grasp, however strong that may be, that one has to offer. And that was the first time you ever heard him throw any form of shade at one. He says,
When?
He says, we could send the Gish there, but then our representation is the representation of another nation.
When our allies here are secure, we will march there ourselves, not as an invading army, but I believe you may have conducted something, a relief force. We will provide aid where we can. Ensure that there is order, yes, but organize things, the distribution of food, ensuring that those who are destitute due to the war are provided a place to sleep. Do you think that is something we could do?
Your will is my command.
Don't. I think it is best I take my leave now.
As you wish. And he'll stand up. And he's not unpolite. You are his chosen, so he does lend a hand down to help you up. It's funny because he's much older, but nonetheless.
Room, take it.
Yep. Hopefully you find the wisdom in whomever it is you wish to speak.
Raymond will nod, and he looks in for maybe 3 seconds, his gaze lingers, and then he'll nod to Elliot, and then he will walk off. He places his hand on his sword, and he begins a prayer for guidance as he makes his way towards Vigil, with the intent of, I believe there's a librarian. There's a Vigilite priestess of Lady Arenda.
So, could you do me a favor? Roll me a perception check. You hear a rather stern voice coming from inside, because I imagine once you step out of the tent, you spend half a moment composing yourself. And then you hear from inside the tent, Elliot, I will not whisper of the chosen when they are not here. I will only speak of them in front of them. You are dismissed. And I imagine you do not stick around any longer. I don't know if you wait for him. You probably just and walk off. You feel a pressure on your shoulder as a couple of talons land and find their refuge there.
You're not the guidance I sought.
He says, well, friends are hard to come by sometimes.
You have something to say?
Is there something particular that you wanted of me?
No, there is not.
But nonetheless, as always, here I come bearing gifts. Gifts with little to no thanks. Mortals. It seems as though a couple of riders have left Vigil.
Rioters?
Riders, yes. I saw them while swooping around overhead, overlooking things.
Left Vigil?
Yes, individual riders.
Riders, I see. Sorry, it's the devil accent. I thought you said rioters.
Oh,
no. I thought that doesn't seem quite right.
Two head to the west, one head north, one head south, and one head east. 5 in total.
2 head to the west, you say?
Indeed.
One to the north? And how many to the east?
1 to the south and 1 to the east.
They send riders to Loshev, Orvan, Harrod, Varen, Ostrat, perhaps.
These weren't simple horses. These were horses of speed. Not a soldier's horse.
Messengers.
You're welcome. And kicks off and flies to the air.
He places a hand like where the claws were on the shoulder, and then mutters something about a devil on his shoulder, and then continues on.
Okay. And we will give Tesh a moment to make his way back comfortably to his seat.
I enjoyed the giggle. That was one of my favorite bits.
Oh my god, that moment was beautiful. Oh man.
It was at that moment that I realized I left my mic on.
Oh, that's funny. I thought you left it on intentionally. So
No, I didn't.
because we saw that it wasn't muted, so I could have muted it for you, but I thought you wanted it on.
Oh no, it was funny. It was great.
It's a good thing you didn't drop like a nasty bomb or something. Where we're like, no. So, anyways, So you were walking around again. This is sometime in the past now, right? You were walking around. In your keep, because the other two had barely spent any time in the keep whatsoever. It was you that was there shoring things up and handling whatnot. This is late into that night. While you were kind of like sleeping, you would have been awoken by a guard. So they had already left. They had left hours upon hours ago. You know what I mean? You'd been awoken by a guard in the middle of the night. Just kind of like, Chosen, please awaken.
Yes, give me a second. Yes.
Chosen. Thank goodness you're okay. You see there's 6 guards in front of you, weapons drawn. 5 of them with their backs to you, shields out, and one of them having been rapping on the door. Thank goodness you're safe. The keep, it's under attack.
Thank God the riders are still here.
Fuck.
I imagine that's literally, yes. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, probably. Honestly, after just waking up, he's got no like willpower to be proper. He's like, fuck. Okay. Who's? Give me information as we go. And he goes and grabs his gear, puts it on, and
He's like, thus far we have not been able to find where the assailants come from. However, your library, sir, is completely in flames.
Can we save it? Any of it?
They're trying to now. We thought for a moment we thought you were inside of it. We haven't been able to find anybody else. We haven't been able to find who did it, where they are. We're searching right now for the grounds. Thank goodness the soldiers were left behind. The riders are running the streets now as we speak, or at least they're giving the orders as we speak to search.
While he's listening, he's doing like the subtle things of the incantations and whoop, rage whoop, detect magic.
Not currently detecting the presence of magic or anything like that. He says, the important thing is that you're safe. Sir, I have brought these guards. I came to inform you. These guards are, of course, here to keep you safe. Do you want to stay here in your room, locked aside? Or do you want to go to the war chamber?
I think let's go. I wish to be a part of this.
He says, a part of it. You wish not to stay safe. He says you wish not to stay hidden.
Yes. I believe, especially at this time, if I were to hide away during an attack, it would not send the right image to our people. I am here to protect them.
Of course. And so you're kind of like led away and whatnot, and it's one of those things where I don't know where it is you intend to stay, maybe in your throne room or maybe just outside of your castle on the balcony where people can look up and see you there with guards and whatnot. Over the course of the next several minutes, you get the reports that there was not exactly an attack. The city itself is not being sieged. It's not being attacked. There's no other fires. There's no assaults, assailants injured, as far as reports coming in. There's also no other rooms in your entire keep that have been disrupted or anything. They're still searching through the place to see what it is, but only your keep had been, only your library had been set ablaze.
Can I ask, sir, Captain? Oh, I should mean the captain, or whoever was with me. Why did you think that I was in the library?
Sir, he goes, Chosen. You spend many late nights in the library, and.
Do you think someone else might have thought that as well?
I honestly, I don't know.
Can I go and look at the library now if it's like more under control to sort of have a look at the damage and like if I can figure out how it started, that sort of thing?
Mm-hmm. So you're actually going to go to the library itself. When you go in there to check it out, again, you still have Detect Magic on or recast it or whatever you need to do.
I would recast it, yeah.
Yep. And you are looking about, and you can see that their only magic that's inside this place is the fading magic of whatever tomes or whatnot that you had in here. You had a lot of important stuff in here from the research and whatnot they've been doing around Adir, stuff that you had kind of looked into in the past. But probably the most unfortunate thing that is inside this library is all of the ancient texts that were retrieved from the keep from forever ago.
No!
Of course, you would want to do everything you can to try to put that out. But why don't you actually do me a favor? Roll me an intelligence check as you're like investigating this, since that's not a thing that exists in this edition. If you had to guess, based off where the fire started and where most of the damage is, those texts are actually the ones that took them, that are, if not completely, pretty damn close to it destroyed. Your other stuff, charred, singed, the whole room's on fucking fire, but certainly salvageable. It's literally over there where it seems like most of the damage was done.
Did anyone have access to this area of the keep?
This room is never guarded. It has its own lock that's, latch that's put onto it, but it's not even often locked because we don't keep secrets here, do we, Chosen?
No. Who has entered and exited the keep tonight?
Normal passers-by. We have The only, I suppose, stranger in the keep at the moment would be your current guest, the Jewel.
Interesting. Can I? There's obviously not going to be much left of the texts. Can I try and analyze as much as left as possible? Because Valorant has a theory that he's not willing to act on immediately, but he has. It's one of the things where he's put a couple of things together in his head, but the good side of him is like, no, don't just assume that. Let's try and dig a little deeper first.
Sure. So when you go looking at analyzing those, you honestly, it's one of those, again, most of your library is destroyed. If not all of it, most of your library is destroyed. Looking into a little bit further, you're no alchemist, so you wouldn't know if like any kerosene or anything like that would have been used, right? But you can clearly tell that these, so you can't invest, you don't know what started the fire, right? Because it was pretty high and blazing, so even if it was a torch, it would have been consumed by now. You can tell that you think all of the mall documents were destroyed.
Now, I know I'd
half
been
hour, 45 minutes, like looking after it, checking it out, so on and so forth.
I know I'd looked at these before, at least in passing. I believe I was planning on looking at them after the war, of course, properly. But I know that I did look at them in passing while we were in the place and once we got out. Can I roll to see if there's any information in there that I know that might be, what's the term? Something that some people might wish others not to know.
Sure. So
sensitive.
As far as you
sensitive,
recall,
yes.
Most of the stuff that you have been able to retrieve from that place was people's personal documents, like journals and stuff like that, like people's own personal accounts of what's going on. So the mall seemed to be a people that, because most of the bedsides of those rooms that you found had this kind of stuff inside of it. So it was more about like understanding the basic routine, like lifestyle of the people that lived there beforehand. That was most kind of what you were pouring through. But you did also find more official documentation and books and understandings in there from, say, that room that you found all those crystals in and whatnot, in the fabricating room. You've pulled books from there as well. So most of what you had pulled out of there was actually day-to-day life stuff with potentially governmental documents and item creation documents as well. But that would have been the vast minority. Like the number of Americans on the stream.
I'm actually going to go into the map room, ask that the guards stay outside, and talk to Old Man, Young Man.
As you were walking into the guard room, you're like, guards, can you please give me a moment? Yes, sir. Another guard actually comes rushing up and says, we just discovered that apparently the guards in the prison, they were unconscious. They're conscious again, but we didn't realize before. We didn't look to check the basements prior. They're conscious again.
Who were they guarding?
We only have one prisoner as of yet. Lady Greer's.
Yeah. And is she still there?
It seems as though she is.
Well, I really am going to play Lady Greer's a visit. But first, I have one idea I wish to try. And at the door, shoot you. And I'm going to... what would we call them again? Momeg?
Yeah, he said that's not his name when he was called that before. But I don't think you're here for that.
It's Momeg, all right.
Momeg, are you here?
He steps into being.
Do you know what? Do you understand why I'm here asking you? Have you been paying attention to anything that's been happening here?
I imagine you're talking about the fire.
Yes, good. Okay. Do you have any knowledge about how that started?
Oh, yes, I watched the man who did it.
Yeah.
It really struggled with the flint and tinder, actually.
It
Get my
says,
hand in the end.
"Indeed, I do."
Now that tone has me worried. May I ask who?
I'm being honest with you. I know who started it, but unfortunately, I can't give you that information.
Mallory would legitimately have like
I'm done.
the. Hang on, what?
Do you smell what the Val is cooking?
May I ask why?
You may, but unfortunately, I won't be able to answer that question either. Not yet.
I'm a bit confused about what's going on here.
I'm sorry.
Did you start the fire?
I did not. Seems
Will
as
you
though
tell me eventually?
He nods. He says, "I think we could be a bit more candid eventually. It seems as though we are kind of at a bit of a standstill at this point. Your nation is still safe. Congratulations on the war."
A member of the Arcane Congress arrived, and there was a record hidden there, so Memek burnt it. No, I don't know.
Well, thank you. I guess I'll be speaking with you again soon. For now, I must speak with Lady Graris. Ace turns around. This time, not doing the good old the hand clasp thing.
Okay. And you go, and you imagine you make your way to the basement.
Yep.
You go down there. The two guards are conscious again. Your detect magic, I imagine, is still up because it hasn't been that long of a time. And you can literally detect the presence of enchantment magic on them.
Sleep.
Oh, good.
Not in, well, Arcana check. Or knowledge Arcana. No, spellcraft. Sorry.
Wow, that's a low roll for spellcraft.
You can detect the presence of enchantment magic on them.
The second I get within range, I look to the other guard and say, magic was used on them. Be careful.
The guards draw their swords, walk up to the two of them, and don't raise them or threaten them, and just say,
"Yeah, it's just
for the safety of the kingdom, get into a cell." And okay, and they're like, "We're sorry. We're sorry."
It's okay. This is just for the protection of everyone around here. Magic was used on you.
I didn't know. And they kind of go into the cell, and the guards shut the door.
I understand. That's why we're not doing this via force.
As you go over to Lady Graris' cell, you can hear one of them kind of lean over and be like, "It's going to be okay, Phil. Don't worry." And as they because they're friends speaking to each other. You go over to Lady Graris' cell. One of the other guards that you just brought down with you will grab the keys from the other ones, unlock her door, and open it for you. Roll me a perception check as you walk in.
Oh, okay, yep.
Saying Lady Graris.
Couldn't have one session.
You smell ash and fire.
Lady Graris, do you have something you'd like to tell me?
It was a deal that I made some time ago. Everything that I have said to you, to wherein, and to a degree, one, though he doesn't seem to speak to me very much, is truth. And every promise that I made, I intend to uphold and move forward. That aside, another promise was made. It was a strange request, but I fulfilled their request. And in exchange, I guaranteed the safety of my children. That's all I wanted. It's the safety of my children. I will uphold every... I don't know what to call him. He's like a ghost.
We will continue this conversation later. You have put me in a very difficult position.
Assuming I made the right choice here, assuming that the promise from this thing is kept, my children are safe. I ask nothing more in this world. You do what you need to. But I implore you to hear my words. I've made a promise to do no harm to you or your people and to put forward. You know what we've discussed.
You may have believe it or not, you may have done harm via this. I get the feeling there was something in there we needed to know.
There may have been.
I can only hold the others back so much, but I will try. As we walk out and you just shut the cell.
Okay.
I am actually going to give go to the captain. Just, I need your two fastest runners. I need a message to both wherein and one. It must pass through no one else.
Yes, of course.
And I'm going to get what languages do I know? Let's have a look. Damn it. I don't think either of them know Gnomish, do they? And Mole isn't going to work. Damn it.
Actually, you know what you could do? Because you work so closely with Elliot. Elliot has the ability to write in ciphers.
Yes!
Yours would be a shit version of it, but you can try to use one of the ciphers that Elliot has. And
I would
Elliot
do that.
Elliot can translate it as easily as he can read.
Yep, I would immediately... I would do that and tell them to go immediately to Elliot, and then for Elliot to pass it on to both of them with immediacy. This is a big issue. And in the ciphered thing, knowing that it's quite likely that there's no point to the cipher, but just in case, he would write, Momeg has acted against us.
Okay. So nice, simple, easy one. Because it's so simple, that actually makes it so it's a pretty solid cipher. If you were trying to write a whole thing, it would be sloppy. But it's something so simple like that, you could easily, one sentence, not a problem. As a matter of fact, don't you have any of those coins?
No, I don't think I have actually had any of those coins.
Don't worry about it. So you give the message. Cool. It sends south. What do you do now, Tesh, if anything?
I will go upstairs and sit down in the map room and just wait.
Okay. And you just wait as days pass. No. So
I would also make sure the guards were in with me this time.
Yep. Of course. I will say over the course of the next coming days, nothing else happens in your nation.
Yep.
Your people are safe. No incidents, no problems, no anything of that sort. Okay? Back to Neil. Who are you? You're trying to speak to the librarian. So let's ignore you for a minute. Even though you technically can get there quicker than Jake can, let's do Jake first. Jake, you make your way over to because that message that he's sending, it's going to take some time to get there, and nobody knows that you left. So it's actually going to get to Neil first, which makes sense. But let's go to you, and it takes days again. Let's get to you. So you head out to the free folk, and when you meet up with them, they're kind of like heading in.
Before I meet up with them, there's something I want to do.
I mean, primp yourself up, a little bit of like lilac and lavender.
No, one night. How long is it going to take to get there?
2 hexes, nearly 2 days.
So one night when he makes camp, this would just be quick. He would kind of throw himself backwards and lay down and look up at the stars, and there'd be a strange look on one's face. If anyone was looking, it'd be equivalent to the look of self-doubt, and he would speak, and he would say in Orcish, "Stop."
Oh,
He would say,
It's so cute. Like a hamster. Jake, while you're distracted, what's the dog's name?
Percy.
Percy.
Oh, it's a great name. I love it. It's
Percy the
class.
Pomeranian, and he just was shaved yesterday.
He's a Pomeranian. I love pom-poms. They're so cute. They're like fluffy little foxes. Nom, 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 nom.
Oh, he's so cute.
he's a cute dog.
I'm sorry. We're totally sidetracking. Blame your doggo.
He's licking the spot where he's scratching. He's like, but it's so yummy here.
No, he's healing it. He's licking it better. He's like, I didn't do damage.
I'm sorry, Daddy. I'm sorry.
Speaking of which, I'm sorry, Daddy. Please carry on.
Yeah, please. Uncle Jake.
I gotta get my train of thought back now.
You were sending you were preparing to say something in Orcish or other.
Yeah. He would just lay there and look up at the stars, and he would just say in Orcish, "I don't know if I've lost my way. I don't know if everything that I do is still what I should be doing in your name. I wish that I could see. I feel of late that something isn't right, and I don't know if my actions have benefited you. I'm sorry if I failed you." And then he would try and get some sleep. That's just something that he does on the way.
No response, no action, nothing like that. You know what I mean? It's very rare, at the very least, to have any form of interaction with deific forces.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It wasn't expected, but I was just showing how he's feeling.
Of course. So, and then the next day you'd make your way into the free folk. And again, this is the smaller group of them. This is the non-combatant group, though most of them can still bring to arms as well. And of course, you make your way over to the Hetman's tent.
If I'm let in, I'll walk in.
Okay.
He would give a nod to the Hetman.
One. Back without guard. Unusual.
Yes. Is it just her in the tent?
As always, is that other dude that's in there.
May I speak with you privately?
Is this not private?
He'd look over at the guy and say,
Does that 8-foot man look private to you, dipshit?
She will turn back behind you and say, "A moment." And they will put down whatever it is that they were working on, seal up their like jars or whatever they are, and then so it takes a good 45 seconds or so, and then turn and walk out.
After he leaves, one would look to her and say, "From what we were speaking of earlier, a few days ago, where you didn't tell me what you were planning to do. The way we operate is different than maybe the way you do. I had to speak to Wherein and let him know what was going to happen. He did not take it well. However, nothing has been mentioned to anyone, as far as I know. but I come to offer some recompense. I do not think it wise to attack Vigil, not now. If you wish to do so in the future, that is up to you. But I would suggest caution. These people are cunning. They know more than they say. I wish to offer you some gold of my own. I'm sorry that I'm asking this of you. You may refuse if you wish, but our army is still there, and I wish nothing to happen to you and your men, your people.
She nods, says, I understand. And I will take you up on your offer. I refuse.
He nods. That is your choice.
We have our own plans and the things that we wish to do. I like your people. You bring a lot of coin. Maybe don't be in the way.
He nods. And he says, if you'll excuse me.
And so as you get up and go to leave, she will say one more thing to you. Did they win?
Who?
All of you. You, your general, Vigil, did you win the war?
He looks at her, and you can see on his face, he just says, I don't know anymore.
She actually 100% understands that sentiment. And she nods and says, it's restricting, isn't it? That life, so shackled. Everybody else's lives weighing on your mind. You can never do what you want to do for you because you choose to do it. Come and go as you please. Answer to no one. It's like being chained down. There's a place here, where all chains are broken.
He will sit back down. Do you mind if I stay here tonight?
Depends on exactly what you mean by stay here tonight, she says with a little bit of a smile.
He says, not tonight.
Her smile drops as she's like, oh. But she's like, yes, you are welcome to stay.
He nods. And he will stay for some time. Maybe, I dare say he arrived in the day.
Because like I said, it was a day and change, you know what I mean? So, yep.
Yeah. He would stay for a couple of hours before leaving. He wouldn't stay the night.
I mean, you're entirely welcome to. But it's one of those things, when you stay, do you want to, stay in silence? Or do you guys chat? Or, it's entirely up to you. She doesn't push in any way whatsoever. She offered to take your mind off things. You were like, I'm good. This is kind of a... And she's like, oh. But then it's... she'll leave you be.
He would probably talk with her, and he'll just talk actually about the free folk. He will talk to her about the freedom that they feel and ask how she leads.
The people here choose who their leadership is, and even that leadership is temporary. The people here are temporary, which is why we have to change leadership as often as we do, or at least attempt to change leadership as often as we do. Anybody who comes here is not beholden here. If they take coin, they're beholden to the coin that they take. That is a simple rule. You don't take somebody's coin and run with it. That would hurt our name as a people, as an organization. But they did their job. They just lost.
They ran with the coin.
You don't take somebody's coin and just run with it. So I suppose that is the only shackle that you might find here. But if you are not currently contracted to do any particular thing because you were not hired to do any particular thing, come and go as you see fit. Answer to no one. You need not inform anybody. You need not ask anybody of it. Even the leadership themselves can abandon their post and walk off, as some have.
He doesn't really seek anymore. After that, he'll make small talk and stuff before he leaves. But he's only going to stay a couple of hours before he rides back. He thanks her for being so candid and understanding.
Do you like having to inform your friends, the other chosen, of where it is that you go before you head there? And always have to have guards licking your boots every time you take a step?
I have no guards now.
Like I said, it was surprising. And never before have I offered you the comforts that we provide here.
Well, I'm not sure of much anymore. I have a lot to think about.
I imagine you do. You come from a different background than I think your companions do. I don't know it. I don't know where you come from, but you look like the Barren Lands. So I'm just going to assume you're from somewhere in that region. And I know you and I share a faith to a degree, though you seem to approach it differently. What I offer here are broken chains. But we don't break chains. Not usually.
I'm going to sense motive on that because I have no idea what.
Of course. Oh, natty one gets a 16. Do you want to luck that to see if you get any more?
Yeah.
I also want to say before I was laughing because your dog was in the background of the shot. Then you put your arm up like this, and the dog moved so it could still sit in shot.
That's funny. Dog's like, I'm the real show here.
I couldn't hold back the laughter.
So anyways, you actually understand what she's saying. She's referring to the shared faith that you guys have, which is Vroga, no question. The fact that you break chains, literally from broken chain, right? Whatever your organization is called, Breaker of Chains. No, what's the name of your subsect?
Order of the Broken Chain.
Order of the Broken
right?
Chain, thank you. Which is literally people that go out of their way to break chains. And she's saying that she offers more or less freedoms of her own sort from her own leadership, which is the free folk. We understand that, yeah? But that last part is at least not usually, meaning there's something that's going to be happening very soon. Like reference of Vroga versus Lady Aravel.
Okay, I get it. I know where I come from. That's all he says. And then guessing that's where he'll take his leave and go.
And it's one of those things, she looks after you. I mean, that was more than enough of an answer. She doesn't say anything else. That was pretty surefire of, like, she wasn't exactly questioning you, but she was definitely testing you to a bit, like a little prod, and you had a very firm response. She doesn't respond. She lets you leave. Leaving her to her thoughts and you to yours. Neil, Back down south, you eventually will go and meet up with some. What is it that we're? Oh, do we want to take another quick?
Scott, what are we doing?
Sorry. I know what you're doing. Now you're talking to the what is it? Librarian.
No, Scott, not that. No tongue dazzling.
But do we want to take a quick little break before we go on any further? Are we good?
I'm good.
You boys?
I'm good.
Okay. So you're gonna go and speak to the librarian, and
Please stop.
So you're gonna go to the Maggie has a an animated emote on her Discord, and it's literally just and I'm always like this emote makes me uncomfortable.
You just did it a lot, Scott. Think
Sorry.
about the amount of people you just made uncomfortable.
Stop. Someone gif it, actually.
But with the sound
Someone
effect,
gif it
it's
and
funny.
use it
Gift
against
it.
him.
Yeah, you need a GIF with sound.
Moving.
That's called a video, by the way, to everyone who doesn't know.
Thank you, Zimmer, for drawing that line. So you go. Your intention is to go back into Vigil.
Yeah.
Okay. We go riding in. Nobody stops you. Guards don't stop you or anything like that.
You probably put a hood up.
Okay. So you go back into Vigil.
Exactly like so. Beautiful. Effective. Stealthy. Clandestine. Beautiful.
Why are you just continuing to say words?
I mean, Scott wasn't saying words, was he?
You put a hood up and you start making your way in. Whether or not people notice who you are and nobody interferes with you or gets in your way as you make your way over to the library. The library that was closed out to most people. So they said that should a treaty be signed, you guys would be, or after the war or whatever it was, you guys would be welcome in. Remind me, you never were officially welcome in there yet, were you?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I wasn't welcome in, but I was allowed in with supervision.
Yeah, that's right. So you can head your way over to the library, and kind of like just outside of it or whatever. And you're welcome, of course, to go into the building itself. There's a door. It's a public building. So
All
you
right.
just-
Okay.
Yeah, you can just go in. The library also didn't take any damage because how far back in the city it is, over towards the lake. And you can make your way into the library. Do you leave your hood up or do you take it down as you walk in?
You take it down as he walked in.
Same as I described beforehand, large kind of books everywhere. There's a big like circular desk kind of in the front there. So
Large books everywhere.
So there's large shelves everywhere. It's a large building, large bookcases, books everywhere. There's a big like circular desk in the front there. I always in my mind imagine it like the library from the movie The Page Master with Macaulay Culkin, like that big kind of like circular desk in the front. And so when you go walking up to it, or when they notice you, it's like, excuse me, who are you?
My name is wherein. The Lady Vigil said that I might visit.
wherein, as in one of the chosen, one of our allies.
Yes. Wherein would reach into his bag and rustle around until he finds the case that holds the quill, the pen.
Oh, while you're rustling around, looking for it, they actually even say, well, then I have to say it's an honor to meet you, and I'm glad that the war is over. It was unfortunate what happened, but at least it's done. The army has disbanded, and we can start to rebuild.
I agree. I have found more and more a change of position from fighting in a war to leading a war gives you a rather great distaste for it. And then he notes to himself, I'm beginning to see how the general feels.
They nod along, though they don't fully understand everybody that you're referring, all the details that you're referring to. They say, I also never found much of a taste for combat. I had my training, as pretty much all citizens of...
Could you please repeat it?
Shut the fuck up, Seri. Shut up.
fucking understood that, but I thought you were saying something before.
So anyways, fucking Steve Jobs listening to me from beyond the grave. So
Someone clip that.
so you sort of saying. So they say from pretty much everybody in Visual needs to be trained in the art of war at a relatively young age, so we can defend ourselves should our home ever be attacked. Your army stopped me from ever having to grasp the hilt of a blade again. Thank you. You said you had dealings? Is there something I can help you find? Literally, your hand's still inside the pack.
I mean, he'd leave that because they've. I was looking for. I was informed there was a priestess of Lady Arenda.
There is a person to Lady Arenda that happens to Vanessa Meshtes is her name. Yeah, they say yes. You mean librarian Meshtes? Honestly, she would probably ask you to call her Vanessa, anyways. Vanessa.
Yes, I presume I do. I was wondering if I might be able to speak with her.
Absolutely, you can. And so they say, please let me see if I can find her. You can make yourself comfortable while I go and look.
Thank you.
And you kind of there's not like there's a sitting bench waiting thing there, but you can kind of like meander around, look at spines and whatnot. And they come back several minutes later on, and they bring Vanessa with them. Vanessa is a human woman that comes walking up to you wearing, again, comfortable robes and whatnot. Clearly has a worship to Lady Arenda and so on and so forth. She comes walking over to you and says, Chosen of the Quill, it's my absolute pleasure to finally meet you. She comes walking over and goes to shake your hand. And you're like, oh, COVID-19, please.
Yeah, Rain's like, oh, I've gone. No. Rain would shake her hand and say, no, the honor is mine.
She says, what brings you to my library?
I have not been among many devout worshippers of Lady Arenda since my time in Amulta. It has been a long time. I thought I might come here and gain some of the lady's wisdom.
Absolutely. I'd be more than happy to provide for you any information that you would like. Is there a particular tome or something that you were looking for, or did you mean more of a conversation?
If I'm honest with you, information would not suffice. It is wisdom, the experience, the insight of another that would probably do so. However, I find myself in the peculiar position where I am but a man, and yet I am also not able to discuss my thoughts and feelings openly with others due to my position in life.
She just clears her throat and looks over towards the librarian, and looks back at you and says, would you mind walking with me amongst the bookshelves? I find that the smell of old books and their aging pages to be a clearing of the mind.
Yes, I think I would.
She'll start walking with you. She allows a couple moments of silence. Like I imagine you're kind of collecting your thought. Also, probably coming to terms with the fact that you're here. Like this, if I'm reading you correctly, seems strange or a little uncomfortable for Rayrin, but he came over with a purpose, and so was trying to okay, well, you got this far, let's follow it through. She'll actually kind of make a bit of small talk to ease things at first and be like, what brought you to worship Lady Arenda in the first place?
I am of Amulti's heritage. We value knowledge. I suppose that is where I was first introduced. I was taught that way, I suppose, rather than choosing it myself. However, I hope you do not take offense, but Lady Arenda is seeming more and more like a wise god nowadays. She seems to take offense with few people compared to, say, Lady Arabelle or Broga. I find the concept of peace and information to be far more tolerable and pleasant than war.
You're not going to offend me. I worship both goddesses equally. I openly worship Lady Arabelle, as is the law here anyways. Or sorry, as is her law anyways, the law here. As is her law anyways. But I also worship Lady Arenda. Arabelle provides guidance, advice, and certainly many wonderful tenets that help persons to come together, including even my own heritage is due to the benefit of Lady Arabelle. But Lady Arenda offers so much more than Arabelle could in other areas. As you say, wisdom, knowledge, beyond, of course, the battlefield and strategy. So you won't offend me by pointing out the flaws, as they are completely covered by the perks of having the other goddess. It's funny you say you're of Maltese heritage. I am, of sorts, as well. Though I was born and raised here in Vigil.
Oh, really? Your parents escaped?
No, my mother came from Malta, and my father she was a human from Malta. My father was a Perrin here. She, at one point in time, she was appointed as. Are you familiar with the Jewels of Eroth?
I am, yes. I have a basic understanding of their structure, their purpose. Was your mother a jewel?
She was, in fact, and she was actually sent here to try to sway the peoples of Vigil to have a house formed here. The leadership at the time apparently didn't like the idea of it, or whatever the case may be, and as is highly unusual for a diamond to do, because I'm told that's what she was. She was some sort of diamond. She fell in love with my father and left her house and stayed here. And here
Interesting. So you are also a Maltese nobility, in a manner of speaking.
I would never go so far as... I never asked her if she knew who her parents were. I think it's forbidden for them to know.
I am unsurprised. Nonetheless, it's pleasant to meet one of my kinsmen, estranged as you may be.
Well, I think you're also a bit estranged yourself, aren't you?
Yes, in more ways than one.
So you came here looking for guidance. I will do the best I can to interpret the teachings of Lady Arenda. What can I provide for you, brother?
In a logical manner, we have set out the kingdom. We have followed three faiths. There is no limitation on the faith, but those are the three faiths that we've adopted. Each one of the chosen should embody that faith. The martyr of kindness, forgiveness. Brogar of fierce freedom and war. And Lady Arenda of wisdom and knowledge. Those are the values that I should embody. I fear that I am not doing so. I fear that Lady Arenda would not find me appropriate as a religious leader for her people. I know it is not common for, say, members of our religion to be filled with the same sort of zeal that the followers we see around us now might be, but I suppose I seek guidance from the lady about how I should lead my people, how I should lead my state. It is difficult for me to grasp as I'm grasping at straws. It is more than likely that Lady Arenda is not entirely aware of my existence. No more than a footnote in history, I am sure. But it is difficult to stand alongside those who are clearly and rightly the chosen of their gods. While I, much akin to a scroll next to a candle, if you pay attention to me, can see what I am, but if you aren't reading me, then you will not know.
Before we can talk about all of what you just said, I simply have to point out the fact that the cover of your book is, mistitled. And the opening of your statement just now, you said that you are a nation with worship to 3 different gods, with no limitation beyond that, just simply those are the 3 that you chose to do. But that's not entirely true, is it? There is a limitation there. And
Yes.
one that has been a point of contention, I imagine, the entire while. As persons like the martyr is open to all people's beliefs, as long as they are kind and helpful, and persons like Lady Arenda wishes to gather all knowledge and wisdom, whether it be of war, peace, or something that falls far from both of those. But nonetheless, there is limitation there. So that's incorrect. Intellectually, factually, spiritually.
Yes.
That
yes.
aside, because I'm not trying to judge the decision, just the fact that you didn't even mention that in the front, despite the fact that it has been a point of contention, I imagine, for some period of time, means that the 3 of you likely haven't found whatever settling you needed to find, and why you probably are here asking for any form of guidance. Your place in the books of history is likely going to find itself a comfortable one if Valorin continues to have the successes that it has. I mean, it's been less than a year. Our state here, our city here has only heard of you for less than that. And here we are. The superpower of Adir defeated. Your people's names, household ones. If they don't know necessarily the name wherein, at the very least the chosen. Those are household names throughout most of the countryside. Easily whisked away as pages turn to dust over the churning of time and history right now. I wouldn't worry so much about what the outlook will be in the future, but what kind of impact you can have now.
How does one heal the rift between gods?
Oh, well, I don't think it can ever be truly healed between the gods themselves, because we don't understand the minds of the gods and why they do the things they do. But there is a rift that is often patched between the parishioners. You come from, as do I, a strange part of Eroth, where things are a bit more rigid. Unfortunately, exaggerated because of our proximity to Paradel and the way that they choose to view things. Paradel has a very rigid way of putting specifically Lady Aravel before everything else, and my culture here does that as well. But this isn't how faith is worshipped throughout most of Eroth, or perhaps even most of Aurorum. Amalta even has inklings of this as well, even if Arenda has kind of this perspective amongst the nobility there. The people, the common people there, worship slightly differently, more aligned with the rest of the continent. Are you familiar with the Idiopans?
Groups of deities or ideals, yes?
Exactly that, where multiple faiths can be brought together due to their similarities. And whole faiths, churches, huge sects of religion worship the idiopan over the individual deity. Outliers, sure, but within that idiopan, there might be outlying worshippers, but nonetheless, there are even diametric opposites potentially brought together. Now, I'll be honest, because of my proximity to Paradel, I have never heard of any idiopan that has brought Vroga and Lady Aravel together. I think I would be hard-pressed.
It would, but this is not simply Lady Aravel's worship. Although the gods themselves clearly do not agree, the greatest tenet that Vrogar disagrees with is that of slavery, one that Vigil does not practice.
No, we do not have slaves here. It's a disgusting. If you look at the tenets of faith that Lady Aravel has to offer, nowhere in there does it say that there's any form of servitude to another person, simply servitude to the deity herself, and it's a bastardization of the faith. You are going to get me on a soapbox that I probably should not be on at the moment. Let's change the subject back to what you were saying.
And they're both gods of war, but war cannot be waged without both tactics and zeal, passion and intellect. Perhaps there is a way forward. Perhaps between the wisdom of Lady Arenda and the compassion of the martyr, which I understand is already softening the roots of Lady Arabelle within Paradel, perhaps an idiopan is possible. It would take years, not within my lifetime probably, but a deer could be united in a faith, in a land. I am young and idealistic and naive.
Are you calling me old? She says, looking at you, probably some like 15 years older.
But sometimes naivety and idealism is needed, right? Yes. If no one challenges the status quo, then new knowledge will never be gained. New wisdom will never be learnt. Thank you. I think I see now my path forward.
Be mindful. I was raised with a duality of faith. I'm sure I'm not the only one that you've ever encountered that has this in their heart, but many people in this region of the world have a singular faith, and it would be very difficult to interject another one. Tread lightly.
They do not have to worship the other, merely tolerate it. Slowly, over time, many years, perhaps the worship would intermingle.
You mean like the existence of a library explicitly to Lady Arenda inside of a city that is solely to Lady Aravel? My mother was
Indeed.
quite the charmer.
If I somehow, through an act of the gods themselves, perhaps, if I manage to plant the seed, then others will nurture it. Adir is a green land, that is for sure. Perhaps it will grow into a tree. Thank you. Your wisdom has been useful. More than that, you've given me hope and a path forward, I think. And I believe I owe a friend an apology.
I'm glad we had an opportunity to meet one another. I briefly met one of the other chosen before. He seems a pleasant sort.
Valrin, yes. He's by far the most pleasant out of the three of us, I assure you.
I have to agree. No offense.
If you would not mind, I would take my leave now.
And you'll actually hear somebody saying, "You will," as you kind of like look from down the alleyway, and you see that there are two guards and Cedric standing there. You will have to take your leave now. Chosen, do you mind coming with me?
Yes, Commander. One moment. He would just turn to
He
Vanessa
nods.
and just say, "Thank you for your time.
She
It was a
says,
pleasure to meet a priestess of Lady Arenda."
she smiles and says, the pleasure was all mine. But she smiles, but it's like a weak smile, and there's genuine concern as she looks after like you kind of turning and walking off with them. When you approach the commander, he says, I was informed of your re-entrance of the city, but not officially.
Yes, I intended not to cause a stir.
And in fact, a stir was caused. We're not slinking about, are we?
Rather not. I thought I would seek the guidance of Lady Arenda.
He looks to her. She kind of gives a nod, and he looks back at you and says, you can see his tone softens a little bit. Walk with me.
Of course, Commander.
He starts walking with you out the door. And his tone, like I said, softened a bit, but he's not friendly like he was last time you had spoken with him prior to all of this happening inside the city. And he says, you know that rabid dog you call Chosen of the Blade is on the brink of causing a war between our city-states. I'm sorry, between our cities. I keep saying that. Between our states, whatever you want to call it.
One is not a rabid dog. He's
someone who waits until you leave the room before he shows his true nature.
He's a wolf. He's not afraid to defend his own. And he defends his own fiercely. And when his back is to a wall, he fights fiercely. We, as an alliance, are in a difficult position. You do not agree with our methods. And as a keystone to it all, your god and Vrogar are at odds. This does not lend itself to a happy relationship to the greatest amount of time.
I can see an easy ending of that problem, but one that we shall never discuss.
I can see an easy ending as well. However, it's easy in that it takes years and very little effort. We build our treaty, we build our alliance. Over time, grievances are forgotten. Over time, our societies become more used to each other. You become more used to how we act. We become more used to how you want us to act. I'm not saying either of us change each other, but we coexist, do we not? Our people have fought together, died together. That counts for something.
Until I discovered in my temple was showed before me, I had respect to a degree for each of you. Yeah, what he means like that is different degrees for each of you, right? So he says to a degree for each of you. That was off-putting to say the least. I understand why you did what you did, and even why you felt it necessary. I find it disgusting that you chose to do that, but I understand. Do you understand why Octavia approached you the way she did?
If I'm honest, no. But she has always struck me as very similar to Lady Arabelle, and rather unyielding. This is quite clearly a deviation from her usual plans, though I understand she did cut off Lord Greyros's hand. No, I suppose I don't. But it wasn't exactly brought up in a way that we could have a discussion about it.
The way I would have handled getting the truth out of you would have been behind bars over the course of weeks, if not months. And the truth would have been had, and then we can decide what to do from there. However, she respects your position and the treaty that was forged between the two of you. And she has Lady Aravel in her heart more than anyone else, chosen by the people and by the blade to be in the position that she is in. And she likes to see people's raw responses. By seeing it when and how she showed it to, by seeing it when and how she did, she's able to see who you really are, as opposed to who you put yourself forward to be.
You telling me, and I ask this honestly, because I understand it was a dishonorable action, an action that I did not like to be committed, but it saved lives. It possibly saved the lives of many of your own kinsmen here in Vigil. Are you telling me that you would willingly sacrifice their lives for the sake of honor? I ask this plainly.
If you're saying if whatever it was that you did to make any gestures towards the temple, that transpire, if that option was put before me, to take that option or to fight the war honestly and fairly, I believe that I would choose the honest and the fair route, because that is what Lady Aravel commands. Now, I understand Lady Aravel is not in your heart, nor the heart of the one who wielded the axe, because that one axe was used on every one of those wounds, on every one of those bodies. Every one of them was killed by the same one person.
When a limb becomes gangrenous, it must be removed. You can either leave the limb and the entire body will die.
Save your justifications. I'm not questioning your actions. That was already done. You asked me why it was she did this. I asked you if you understood why she did that, and I am explaining. She needed to see your response as you realized, and not after you came up with whatever telling that you wanted to give. It seems as though 2 out of the 3 of you are willing to maintain the alliance. The other one, however, let us see if this slow and hard work is even an option.
One will keep his word. I have faith in him. Do not let the fact that he is a follower of Rogard dissuade that.
How about the fact that he threatens the life, or I should not speak out of turn, the fact that he tried to inspire ire and invoke violence from the very man who went so far as to save Dwayne and Elliot from captivity and torture, simply because he was upset by what it is that one has done. A man who put his own life on the line to benefit your nation. Being provoked.
One is hot-headed. You know this. You have met him on several occasions. Should he have acted differently? Probably, yes. Did he come to blows? No, thankfully. Does Erwin have my gratitude? Yes.
Thankfully, he didn't come to blows because the hand was steadied by our own edicts.
Each one of us carries a different amount of wisdom, of knowledge, of power, of rage. In this case, you said, your own edicts held him back. Was it an edict, or was it Lady Octavia telling him no?
Lady Octavia's word is our edict.
She possessed the greater wisdom in this scenario.
Because she is leadership. However, your leadership is, by your own words, a wolf. Comfortably in the wild and free, but when in close proximity to society, a danger to all around it. One that need be destroyed, lest it bring harm to those that it resides near. Perhaps you can break this wolf one day, tame it, a comfortable pup at the side of the people. Or it needs to be put down. I'm not going to tell you what you need to do. I'm simply telling
Commander, I appreciate the conversation we're having, but the metaphor for killing my friend is not appreciated.
Sometimes my own emotions get the better of me. Let's leave the conversation where it's pleasant.
Agreed. Thank you for escorting me out, and thank you for explaining Lady Octavia's motives to me.
He will, because you guys were walking over towards like near the exit. You're not fully out of the city by any stretch of the imagination. He says, "Safe travels home." And he gestures towards the wall. Not again. He's not like walking you out the city. He trusts you to find your own way.
Rayron will like turn to leave, and then he stops for a moment. He turns back and he'll look at the commander, and then he'll say goodnight. He'll just good night. And as he leaves, you can see him looking towards the gap in the wall.
Okay.
The big blaring gap.
Okay. Tesh, after a couple days pass of you not doing anything, everything seems fine with your people. Do you simply stay inside your nation to make sure that's kind of looked after, or do you intend to finally make your way back to the rest of the group down to the south? What is it that Valrin would do?
I don't feel like I can leave this keep while old man, young man, Mermeg, is doing what he's doing and not explaining himself.
Okay.
I'm sticking around. I'm trying to keep an eye on everything. I've consolidated any remaining texts, if there's anything, on either my person or in my private quarters. And I would be researching that, and I would be going to the map room and waiting.
Okay. Your message gets to Rayron shortly after he rejoins with his, not shortly after, sorry, like a day later after he rejoins with everybody, was trying to figure things out, blah, 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 blah. So it more or less gets to Rayron right around when one is actually leaving the free folk to start heading back south again, just because like how timing works.
We'll go to Elliot first for the cipher, but yes.
Yeah. So it was one of those when you go joining up with Elliot. So it's the next day, or whatever it is, day and a half later, Elliot will be like, chosen of the quill, I have a word from home.
Oh, Valrin sends word.
A very simple one. It says Momeg has acted against us. It says Momeg has acted against us. He says, and as he like says that, reading it to you because he's actually seen Momeg before, right? He has.
I cannot recall him.
I think he has. But I don't think
yeah.
any of your other. Maybe Kithel has. He says it says Momeg has acted against us. This is directly from you can tell by the handwriting and his attempt at my cipher.
Even then, he can't just be like, and the cipher. His attempt. Yeah.
That was so cinematic. Sorry, your thing blurred, and then you took off your glasses and it sharpened up.
I feel. Well.
Should we inform Leon?
Not for the moment. Let us hold off for now. I think if you think it's appropriate to tell him, then you can inform him if things change. But I think for the moment, it doesn't seem wise. I feel that we have built a great start here in Adir. Now I feel that everything we have been reaching for is slowly slipping out of our grasp.
We don't want to return home with the army?
I had not wanted to leave Vigil alone.
You said that stuff that you said before in front of Leon, didn't you? In front of Elliot.
In front of Leon and Elliot, yeah.
He nods and says, oh, the free folk.
These people did save your life. And they fought with us in the war. It would not be right to knowingly abandon them.
I don't know what this means, he says, holding up the paper. But if something as powerful as that is acting against us, was this whole war a toy? A game?
I have a request. I need you to gather me texts. Ones that may well relate to Momig would be useful. But more than that, I would like texts on demons. Devils, to be precise. I would like them on the plains. If we are going up against a creature like Momig, we will need all the power we can get.
That kind of literature is forbidden even in Paradel. Getting that sort of literature would be very difficult because we're going to have to stretch past the nation that encompasses our entire land. I can do it, and it will take a lot of favors and time, but it can be found. Not everybody sees them as bad.
You do not have to get the most vile and worst books. I want information more than anything else.
Yeah, I understand. What do you do from here? Are we just going to allow another day and a half to pass as Jake rejoins with us?
Yeah, I think so. I think at this point it's...
Okay. So we allow another day and a half to pass as Jake finally comes back to the camp down below to join up with everybody. Nothing has happened yet as you guys can share information. I'll be back in a minute and a half. You guys can talk as Jake, you go walking into Neil. Oh, hi Neil. How you doing? You want a bear, mate? He's like, no, thanks. I'd rather have a tea.
What the fuck was that? Hi.
Don't you question me.
At least Scott said words. He just hi.
Hey, it got the. Oh my god, your little doggo is so cute.
Yes.
Oh, Percy. I wonder if I shout loud enough down the mic if it'll
Just deafened.
just break Jake's ears. Just scream. Doggo stream. Man, today has been intense. I know Scott wants us to begin RP, but fuck that. Today has been intense.
My heart can only take so much.
It has been brutal. I don't know whether this was caused by Scott just being a total look, we got two Australians in English, a total cunt, or whether this was caused by a bunch of curses and trumps.
I don't know. But also, I said it in chat, but for the sake of the VOD, part of the reason why Valorant acted so harshly with this situation is he's never had reason to doubt Momeg before, but he's always had that curiosity of, I wonder who he is. And then the fact that identity papers were destroyed, that's immediately red flag. Yeah. Click, no.
Well, what we suspect is to do with his creation, yeah.
Well, it doesn't, it literally doesn't matter. The fact that he destroyed it and wouldn't tell me about it. First time he was like that. And the fact that he enlisted her to do that. And he was able to put a spell on those guards.
Mm-hmm.
All those things combined to flat out, no, not okay. He's waiting in that room for some kind of a response while he tells you guys what's going on.
You know, this is extra brutal for me because I missed the last week of hype and we're winning, victory, everything's going well. Yeah. And I've come now and I'm just there getting beaten mercilessly.
Oh, that's funny. I muted for you guys, but I didn't mute for stream, so... Had I said things like God fucking God, they would have heard, but that's okay. Professional streamer. So what did you guys talk about?
Nothing to do with the game.
Okay, so one, you go walking into Neil's actually in a tent fapping when you come walking in. No, not Rayrin. Rayrin's watching while Neil sits there. What? It's my fantasy world. So one, you go and find Rayrin as you make your. I assume you go straight to Rayrin when you come back to.
I do.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, Momig records it.
Oh, shut up! God fucking damn it!
So yeah, one would just go looking for Raven straight away.
You'd find
When he
Rayron
finds
writing.
him.
He'd be
Um,
probably in his tent, book out, quill out, writing.
Raven, I'm back.
Ah, one. Any luck?
I spoke with them. I think we should have General Jaeger ready, the troops, and we should go seek the vigil.
Bollocks.
Did you speak to them while I was gone?
I did not. I informed the general and Elliot, but that was it.
Then let us go now.
One moment. I didn't mean to offend you or question you before. I worry about some of your actions, as you should worry about some of mine. I mean, I deals with the devil.
Put his hand up.
But you're still my friend. And I have your back. Don't doubt that. Even if we have to hack down 12 more councilmen in the woods in the dark on our own.
Yet like a half-hearted smile. Thank you, Aaron. I'll always have yours. I fear after everything, you might be the only person I have left. And he looks sad.
Don't underestimate the value of the compassion of the martyr. Varen, I'm sure, when we come clean, will not be pleased. And he's going to walk forward and he's going to put his arm around one. In like a friendly way. Not like a comforting way. I'm sure Varen will be extremely dismayed to hear about what has happened. But on the other hand, he has just told me that Momig has moved against us. So, if we tell him now, I'm sure he'll be verily distracted and we'll get away with it. So, I think when we return to Kurzfall, whenever that is, we will call a council, all of our advisors, and come clean. Tell them the truth, all of it. Any that wish to leave can leave. Any that stay, we know are true to Kurzfall.
He nods. We should set out for vigil.
Yes, we should. This time, let us be the bigger men. Let us not rise to the baits, even if the bait is 6 very tasty-looking corpses. And show them that we can restrain ourselves and our tempers.
What I'm about to do goes against everything that I've ever been. I don't know who I am anymore.
It does not go against everything you've ever been.
It does.
Tell me.
Aaron.
I remember you spoke of your childhood very infrequently, but you were a slave, yes. All your
Okay.
life, you have fought against slavery, no? These people, they are against slavery. While their religion does not say slavery is a sin, they certainly do not believe in slavery. They are Idirian. They are against it. They do not proliferate what is the most vile thing that you find in Lady Arabelle. Yes, there is a rivalry between your gods, but not a hatred, a rivalry.
Oh, you're like the Giants and they're like the Patriots. They always win, but you're playing too.
We don't get that joke.
Yeah, nothing. No.
Get right. What I mean to say is, what is a war god without someone to war against? The destruction of the followers isn't appropriate. Rivalry, Arguably more so. Think on it. I will not pretend to know what your faith is in its entirety, or what you have been through. But I will try. And if you inform me more, then I will try even harder.
Thank you for your support.
Are not losing yourself. I felt the same. We are not losing ourselves. Merely ourselves are changing. And the world around us. Unfortunately, as we change ourselves, we are also changing the world around us due to our positions in life. And oh, isn't it a pain? And I may have likened you to a wolf to Commander Cedric.
Kind of gives a bit of a snort and says, let's go. I've wasted enough time.
This time when you go walking into Vigil, it is not just discreetly with a hood over your head, but openly and on horseback and probably with a couple of guards with you. Clearly an act of peace. The meeting that you have with the leadership there, we can actually shore up pretty quickly. They welcome you. There is a slight curtness to the tone, but only slightly more so than when you guys originally met for the treaty, where the accountant is pleasant. Cedric is pleasant with Wherein and short with one. And Octavia is just matter of fact with everybody. Slightly, I guess a hint of cross there. But nonetheless is going to be, again, even. Just because that's how she is, right? When you inform
I think that we should leave this for next week or whatever, because there's a lot that's going to go on in this conversation.
Oh, you want to have a lot in this conversation? Okay.
Yeah, this is a huge thing for one.
That changes. Nope, that's fine. Never mind. I was going to say, let's shore it up and then you guys leave and I'll do the war without you. But that means everything waits on to next week. Sorry, everybody. Sorry. No more. Jake specifically said stop the stream. And Tesh is saying, fuck you, bad.
Tesh is saying, back pain, won't die, please sleep.
Okay.
Well done for soldiering on, Tesh.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. I didn't know you had back issues.
The lie
Even
down
if
helped,
you had to have a
honestly.
lie down and a giggle.
Yeah, that really helped.
Yeah. Well, why don't we start our goodbyes for this fuck-long session of Kingmaker. Nice to have 6 hours to kind of catch up some of what we lost.
Yeah, that was intense.
Yeah. God, to me, I'm like, I keep going. Because I used to always do 8 to 12 hour sessions. So like, let's keep playing.
Yeah, but these boys, it's like, what?
It's 4:30 a.m.
Oh, yeah. No, we clear
Christ.
and mind you, starting next week, as a reminder, we end 1 to 2 hours earlier from what time it is for you currently. So as a reminder, if I have the day off, like I do next week, we will end 1 hour earlier, 1 p.m. my time. If I don't have the day off, we have to end 2 hours earlier, which is 12 p.m. my time. So, and then eventually your time change happens too. So it also becomes slightly earlier because your clock shifts as well because you're the opposite half of the globe. All right, let's go around and say what we're doing. Soldier Boy Tesh, can you do the Soldier Boy? Can you get us
No.
a dance?
No, I cannot.
Superman,
Nope. Hi, I'm Tesh of the Test Tube. You can find me under that name on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Follow me on Twitter for all the cute animal gifts and keep up to date on all the things. Only on Twitch if you enjoy looter shooters of all kinds, although I've got to admit, probably not going to be playing Destiny on Friday like I was originally planning to. So 8 p.m. EST, Thursday in America, it's Friday for me. I'm probably going to be playing a bit of Division 2. Need to catch up on that. So yeah, come join me.
Nice.
Beautiful. And Neil, what are you doing in 1 hour's time?
Nothing. Because it's off.
Oh,
Because
it's
Ollie's
not- oh,
internet's
it's off
not working.
this week.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ollie's
that's right.
No.
He's sick.
All right, Tesh, go get a coffee. Boys, we got some more hours to do. Come on, 2 more hours. 2 more hours. 2 more hours.
Oh no!
I mean, I can go for 2 more hours.
I mean, I'm not there, honestly, so I can just go to bed and
Tess
just
is
do
like,
like
I'm
2
going to bed.
hours.
Oh,
Well, I'm not
we could
there,
in theory
like-
have that conversation, but obviously we couldn't do too much more anyways. Jake, sir, what are you doing, Mister 4:30 in the morning or whatever? No, 4 in the morning, whatever it is there.
5.
He goes he's
Jesus
the other way.
Christ! What a tank!
You do realize this is when we
am-
normally end, like for the last like couple months.
Yeah,
so-
I know.
I am probably going to just stay up until 7 o'clock and then get the kids ready for school.
Oh,
That
Jesus.
sounds like 2 more hours from now, Jake.
I mean,
Does it not
Scott,
sound like too
if you want to have this conversation, let's go to break and I'll hammer it out.
Honestly, if you guys want to keep going, I'm not there, so I could probably just go to bed and I'll catch up on what happened.
We might keep going. In the meanwhile, hi, I'm Daelric. You can find me here and your living room. You don't believe me? Turn on your TV and have it go to twitch.tv/Daelric and you'll find me there. See y'all
But
soon.
probably don't put it on your living room TV if you have kids.
What the fuck? Why?
Blah, 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 blah.
Listen here, you cunt. Why the fuck can I? Why the fuck can I be on the TV? It's funny because my daughter would never be around to watch any of the streams that I do. My older brother has 2 kids that are much older, like 10, 8, 11, 9, somewhere in there. And it's one of those, let's watch Uncle. Nope. They're like, yeah, Uncle Scott. He's Uncle Scott.
The kids that I work with have found out I've got a YouTube channel. I'm like, no.
This content is not for children.
Oh, all right.
I swear a lot.
Yeah, and he's going to continue to swear more if he doesn't find his way onto a pillow very soon. So I don't know if we're going to keep going or not. That all depends on whether or not I have to send pictures.
Depends on how many bits get dropped.
Oh, that is.
I can do that mercilessly because I don't feel guilt because I don't benefit from it. It's a truly altruistic act on my part.
Trudeau, is that allowed? Are you allowed to say bits for more minutes? Like, is that something that you're allowed to do under TOS? I honestly don't know.
What would you say? What would you call it? Minutes?
I don't think there's anything against it because I've seen people do stuff where like if we get this many subs, I'll keep going for an extra hour. Like I know someone that ended up going for a 12-hour stream because they kept getting subs.
Oh my god! Yeah,
I would do a 24-hour stream for something like that.
Would you?
Absolutely.
Jesus Christ! No, I would not.
Yeah, I couldn't do D&D the whole time because
I used to do 12-hour streams. I'm not sure if I could do one now after I had the glandular fever.
God, that is vicious.
No, it would actually be funny if I had specifically a whole cast of people set to rotate, and then just like we did like a Cthulhu style, just murder everybody and keep switching them out. But anyway,
that would be amusing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be. It would be pretty fun.
You start with one character and slowly build them in, and then as they die off, you add in
other PCs. Let's go, Doxy!
Yeah.
Get in here.
Yeah, you
Wade,
just bring in another
that'd be
person,
fun.
and then they're in, and then you kill off another one, bring in a different person.
Well,
That'd actually be really
Jake's
cool.
dog, you're in. No, all right. Let's let Tesh go to bed, everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
Percy. All right.
He's so cute.
We might be. Well,
He is
either
very
way,
cute.
I'll be back. It's just whether or not
He
I have
has
my
been
boys
licking
with
his
me.
bum hole for like a good 2 hours though now.